In this short video, we're going to get you started with tracking by looking at what tracking is, why we do it, and what skills you'll need to be a great tracker. While I talk you through the basics, Lindsay will be out and about putting it all into practice. Put simply, tracking is looking for and identifying signs of wildlife in an area. Field signs might be paths, footprints, droppings, feathers, nests, or underground burrows. We might need to use tracking in situations where animals are nocturnal. That means only coming out at night, where animals are secretive, or if they live hidden away underground or up trees. In all of these scenarios, we have to rely on the field signs they leave behind to find out if they're present. Tracking has been used from the beginning of time. Initially, it was a matter of life or death. People needed to be able to find and hunt for food and to avoid predators. In modern times, we mainly use tracking in wildlife conservation to establish if an animal is present or not, to educate people about wildlife in their area, and in forensic investigations in cases of wildlife crime. Tracking develops lots of important skills that help us in other areas of life, such as concentration, memory, logical thinking, and problem solving. We think of these as tracking's transferable skills. Tracking is also a really enjoyable activity, immersing us in nature and helping us to switch off from everyday life and tune into the world around us. This has lots of benefits to our well-being, including reduced stress, greater feelings of connection, improved fitness, and more. Some things you can try out initially to help you start paying more attention in nature while not disturbing wildlife in the process are animal eyes and ears and wildlife walking. Here's Lindsay to show you how to do it.
So first I'd like you to practice using your peripheral vision. First get a space, stretch your arms out, and then slowly bring your fingers in until you can see them. Wiggle your fingers. This is your peripheral vision. Being aware of what's in your peripheral vision helps you be a great tracker. The second thing to do is practice using deer ears. If I push my ears forward, it allows me to hear much better. It's almost like I've got massive big ears like deers or foxes. The last technique I'd like you to try for when you're out tracking is fox feet. So you're going to very quietly and very stealthily move forward without cracking any sticks. It's a real skill to practice, walking quietly through the undergrowth so nothing can hear you.
Interested in getting out to try tracking for yourself? Let's run through a few things to get you prepared. First up, think about what sort of equipment you'll need. Think about your clothing, sturdy shoes, warm clothes, waterproofs, and food, water, snacks, lunch, depending on how long you'll be out. If you're going to an area you've not been before, you might want to look it up on Google Maps or bring a map of the area out with you. Can you bring someone with you as a tracking buddy? If not, make sure someone knows where you're going and how long you're going to be out. This is all part of a process known as risk assessment. It covers the things we've mentioned, plus considering things that will keep you safe while out on your tracking adventures. For example, have you checked the weather forecast? Wet weather can make you cold quickly, especially if you don't have the right clothing. Windy weather can make going into the woods dangerous due to the risk of falling trees or branches. If the ground is really wet, the risk of slips, trips and falls will be higher. Think about hazards on the ground such as broken glass, nettles, brambles, etc. And things at eye level like branches sticking out from trees that might cause an eye injury. Now you're all prepared, how do you go about tracking? What is the process involved in tracking? Put simply, we go out into nature and observe. While we are paying attention to all that is around us, we start noticing things that we may recognise or that seem out of place. As we focus on these things, our brains are trying to make sense of what we find, searching through our memory bank for similar things that we've seen before. This process is called pattern recognition, which, along with some knowledge of how different species live, and some logical thinking that we'll cover in a bit, leads us to a conclusion about what animal left that field sign. In summary, that process looks like this. So what was that logical bit we were talking about? We're going to teach you a couple of methods you can use to help you come to a decision about something you find while out tracking. The who, where, what, when, why, and how of tracking. This method of questioning what you find is a great place to start to help you solve the puzzle of which animal left a particular field sign. For who, start simple, then get more specific. Human or wildlife, bird or mammal, four-footed or two-footed. Where did you find the field sign? Where was the animal going? Where is it now? What was the animal doing? Eating, toileting, running, walking, sleeping, hiding, house building? When did the animal do this? Is it fresh or old, weathered, rotten? Why? Why was the animal here? Think about what it needs: food, shelter, water, mates, and where it would get it. Look around nature to identify resources. How? How did it make this field sign? Scraping with a hoof or paw? This exercise is a really useful way to get us thinking in more detail about any field signs we find. You can keep a copy of these questions in your field kit by making up the Trackers Swatch book that you'll find on our website. Master listing is also a good exercise to try. If you find a field sign and you aren't sure which animal it belongs to, make a list of all possible animals that could have left it. Then, beside each animal, make a list of pros and cons for why the field sign might belong to that animal. You might not reach a definitive conclusion with this exercise, but at the very least, you'll come away with a considered guess. So, now we've covered the basics of tracking and given you some ideas to get you started with tracking. In our next video, we're going to be building up your memory bank by showing you lots of different field signs for different animals and giving you hints and tips for telling them apart.